like there was a couple Miley Cyrus moments where it was just like marketing to be marketing.
Yeah.
And I wondered, that was kind of cool. And people are definitely talking about like, oh, I've never seen that in a trade show, or this is such a usually a very business sort of buttoned up kind of a meeting. But my question or my wonder is that marketing actually driving business, or is it just sort of buzzing us around for a minute?
All right.
Here we are in Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
At the IMEX America show. It has been a really action-packed week. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year, and I'm excited that we get to share with you while we're still here in Vegas what we've been up to and what's been going on at the show.
Yeah, no, super excited. I mean, it's last day, so of course everyone's got a little bit of fatigue at the moment, but I think we're going to rally and get excited for the last day, walking the trade show floor, meeting clients. So it's going to be a huge amount of fun.
Absolutely. And I think you can hear it in my voice a little bit.
Fatigue. A little bit. You sound like you've had a lot of conversations this week.
I've had a lot of conversations this week in a really good way. So it's Thursday at the show, and really the bulk of my appointments were on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I felt like I've really gotten a really good take on who the audience has been this week and what they've been looking for. So what I think is kind of interesting is we took a different approach this year to IMEX in general. For many years, we had that big oversized footprint booth with, we even brought in international partners to our booth and did all kinds of different variations of making sure we were placed and seen on the floor in a big way, and hosting buyers and other things like that. And my entire career for the last 12, 13 IMEXs that I've gone to, I've been in the Boston booth. I've always really believed in the destination booths being a really good alignment for a DMC, because we are destination experts. And when we know a client is interested in our destination, it's one step closer to being able to support them on a program. So after many years and many conversations, we actually took that approach full circle for the company.
Yeah, no, it was really smart. I mean, we made some strategic placements within certain markets. And I think, you might have seen it on our social media. We kind of did a where are we at IMEX, because we had a lot of coverage in a lot of different locations. And I'm interested to see kind of what that ROI is, because I feel like it really has the opportunity to create really, great conversations with targeted business opportunities from clients, and to really dive deep into the programs that they're looking to bring to those destinations. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Totally. So we had our fairly small CSI booth, so we did still exist on the show floor,
and we were bright green. No one missed us
with lots of neon signage. So it worked really well in that sense. And then we were all over the place. DC, San Diego, Arizona, Colorado.
Miami,
California, Miami. Yeah, we were all over the place, Boston, and really covered the gamut of the show floor. And then we had a lot of folks that were walking the floor, and then we had a lot of folks in the CSI booth also taking general appointments as well. And we brought a lot of new faces that had never been to IMEX before. So we had a lot of newbies, but they weren't new to CSI necessarily or new to the sales process. But they had never been to an IMEX. And these are people that are some of our strongest salespeople in the company and never have an opportunity. And sometimes when I get, to a show like this and I get a little tired on day 3, like I am today, I realize like how lucky I am to be here and to have had the opportunity to go to this many shows and to get out there and see what exists at a big conference like this, at a big trade show, because it is eye-opening and it helps you do better at your job when you see other events take place and you get to be an attendee and a guest, right?
Yeah. And, it was fun even just kicking off the week. We all kind of got together as a team. We had a really great team bonding moment where we kind of talked about the roadmap of the week and what we were excited for and the different clients that we were meeting and why we were excited to talk about their programs. And it really set us off on like a really great path. And, we had some really great events too along the way. We had an incredible breakfast where we got to network and, talk to all of our clients, which is really, the goal here is to meet and see as many people as possible.
We had a great turnout at breakfast.
Great turnout at breakfast. It's always a nice kind of relaxing moment, kind of midway point through the show.
But it was mostly relaxing.
Mostly relaxing.
I have to jump in and give a confession.
Okay. A little confession moment.
And, these things happen.
They do.
But we did have an emergency situation at our breakfast. And, at the end of the day, it reminded me how important it is to be prepared for emergency situations, no matter what you're doing. Even if you aren't really thinking of, I wasn't really thinking of this trade show as like one of our typical programs, because it has been such a, an all hands effort from the team, and not, run by an event manager or, sold by a salesperson or anything like that. It's been a huge team effort. So when an emergency situation happened at our breakfast with a health issue with somebody, where we had to call in the paramedics and all of those things, I think we all went into, back to our roots, into event manager mode.
Yeah.
I was on with 911. I'm checking all these things, and we're really figuring it out. But we worked with the venue, who were really great to work with. They had a plan in place. The hotel had a plan in place. 911 arrived very quickly. And everyone was fine. The situation worked out okay. The person is absolutely healthy and okay. Las Vegas is a very dry place, and dehydration is real, and you never know when different, things can hit you all at once. And it just happened that day.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a moment, true confession, I was not expecting that. I hadn't mentally prepared for it, but man, when it went in, I just went right back to my roots of, okay, what are the steps we take in every program in an emergency?
Yeah.
Let's go through them.
Well, and I think it's like, going back to things that we've talked about at the beginning of the show is, it's relying on your vendors that know exactly what's happening, your venue who has that emergency protocol in place. They train for this, they know about this, and then trusting your team to really step in, mobilize, make things happen. And we are all event planners. We all understand the dynamic.
Totally.
So our attendees were, gracious and grateful and wonderful, to understand the situation that we were dealing with. And that was a great feeling to know that we could take care of it, put our heads down, focus on what was happening, and then move forward with still a successful event. So.
Absolutely. And the real highlights of the breakfast for me were the coffee experience, because who doesn't want a really curated coffee before they start a long day on the show floor with, branding on it and all kinds of fun stuff where the powder on top of the foam says your name or whatever. That was a really great touch. We had a sound bath experience. We had massage chairs, and man, I've seen massage chairs all over this show, and they're always full. And
always,
people
always a popular option.
Loving it.
Yep.
Loving it.
I kind of joke that the Thursday is the day where you kind of walk around and you see all the massage chairs, and there's almost lines forming where people are waiting.
Literally.
So it's a good day to walk the trade show floor on Thursday, because you're bound to stumble on a massage chair that might be open, and you can sit down for a massage.
Love that. I'll be keeping my eye out today. So I, was really taking appointments most of the week.
Yeah.
You had a chance to walk around a little bit more than I did.
I did.
Tell me about what you saw when you were walking around. Any sort of bigger takeaways from any of the booths? I know there was people represented at the show, or anyone from the destinations, the CVBs, the hotel brands, technology companies. Obviously DMCs like us, but it's a huge, there were some really interesting brands that I'd never seen promoted at the show before. And I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I know. I think it's almost interesting because I feel like it's diversified a bit in terms of who are some of the big players at these shows. We have, Google sponsorship at our, technology hub that you can kind of go over, and the Inspiration Lounge is, different kind of, out of industry, partners, out of industry folks. So, we saw everything from Sketchbox over at the Disney booth. We went over and did a wellness experience at the Inspiration Lounge, which was really incredible. Meditative breathing. There's a lot of wellness, a lot of sustainability.
I've seen wellness everywhere.
Yeah. So we saw
sustainability in the lanyards too, right? We went away from plastic lanyards. They did cardboard. Yep. They talked about even the lanyard itself is made out of recyclable materials. So there was definitely, from the start to finish, a push on sustainability, which has been incredibly, impactful in our messaging lately, and our stance. We've been really pushing for sustainability as well. So that was nice to see.
The other thing I saw that I thought was really interesting is a lot of these mobile experiences that, they're moving from destination to destination. So they're here at IMEX. They have this incredible mobile activation, but then they pack it up and they ship it somewhere else into the country.
Yep.
So, I went over to visit Baltimore, longtime friends of mine. I've been in that market for a while, and they have this incredible pop-up trailer that they have just started moving around to different events. And I think it's that, nod to the experiential marketing side. How do you experientially market what you're doing and your destination and get people excited for coming by and swinging by your booth?
Totally.
But I think you and I had the conversation, and this is a good segue, is where does it become just a buzzworthy experience? Or where does it become a meaningful opportunity to connect with clients and to talk about business and have really meaningful conversations?
Totally. I was joking that there was a couple Miley Cyrus moments where it was just like marketing to be marketing.
Yeah.
And I wondered, that was kind of cool. And people are definitely talking about like, oh, I've never seen that in a trade show, or this is such a usually a very business sort of buttoned up kind of a meeting. But my question or my wonder is that marketing actually driving business,
right,
or is it just sort of buzzing us around for a minute? And are you really getting the right people coming to your booth, making appointments with you that are going to work with you in the future because you did that buzzworthy thing? So I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either. I think it'll be interesting to see at the end of the week.
Yeah. And I do think, what's been fun too is, we all are on teams and we chat regularly with our teams back home that aren't at the show. And, what they're seeing on social media versus what we're seeing in real life has been kind of fun too, where I'm getting messages from some of my colleagues saying, have you walked over to this one and seen this? Or did you see this person? Or, please tell so-and-so hello or whatever. And so there's this whole, reach where some of those buzzes are getting all the way around the country already before we've even left the show floor. And other ones are like, isn't that crazy that they did that? Like, was that well received? Do people like that? And with that, I think too, is the idea around, the events that are happening outside of the trade show and whether people are, for many years, there's been these big blowout parties, right? The big hotel brands are doing these 1,000-person events with a big name or tier 2 or 3 level name entertainer. They're really featuring their hotel brands or their different chefs or things like that at the events. And they're saying, come on, come all, the more the merrier. We just want exposure, that sort of thing. I see some of the DMCs doing that. I see some of the destinations doing that. And this year I felt like I saw a lot more people doing what we've been doing, which is really curated small group events that are opportunities to really get a lot closer with a few people versus seeing everybody for 5 minutes. Yeah. Which I've turned down the invitations to go to a lot of the big ones lately because Kinley, I'm tired of talking, and these quick conversations where I'm just hello are happening on the show floor already for me. Yeah. That I really want to focus when I do have, an hour, and I want to sit down for a nice meal, and I want to talk to somebody that's going to really bring value back to me, and really build a relationship with that person a lot more than just dancing side by side with them at a nightclub for a late night party, right? Yeah. So we've seen a couple of our competitors do it too, but I think for me, in the direction that we're going at CSI with how we're managing our accounts and how we are making sure that each of our accounts that we're working with feel special and heard and that we understand their needs a lot more, that happens over dinner. That happens over a couple of hours of really asking those questions like, hey, you know what? In this scenario, this happened at our event. And, why did that happen that way? And let's dive a little bit deeper so we can do something different next time, right? You don't get to have those conversations that often with, from a strategic level with your accounts. And so I really took a point to have small dinners this year. And, we added some buzz to them. I took a group to the Keith Urban concert last night. We're certainly not boring. But I had such great feedback and so much fun. I mean, we still ended up at a party bus dancing the night away, but it was 6 of us, not 600. Yeah. And, we really got to build core memories that are going to drive, I think, a lot more stronger relationships down the road and stronger events down the road too.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we've kind of tried it all on. And I think that's really the key here is, we've experimented in different ways throughout the years that we've been at IMEX to kind of make sure that we're always kind of, getting the secret sauce right. And we're really making sure that we can meet our clients where they are, what they're looking for, how they're looking to interact with us. We take the feedback from clients at the end of our week and we kind of really dive in and say, was this a worthy investment? Not only for us, but for them. We want to make
It's
sure
a big investment.
Yeah, they're enjoying their time. They're enjoying the opportunity to meet with us. We don't want them to feel like it's, they're checking off a box because they need to come over and spend time with us.
Well, and I think too, it's such a big investment. It's one of the largest investments we do as a company every year. And I know that I can say that for a lot of our competitors and a lot of other brands that are here. But is that how it should always be, right? So it's budget season. We're all talking about what are we going to do next year and how are we going to, drive the right business and really keep our existing clients happy and grow, the right clients. And, the more I think about it, the more I think about the smaller, VIP event experiences that we're creating and walking, spending a little bit less of an investment, still being present and still, not completely walking away from the big shows, but definitely shifting our approach on some of the big shows instead of being just that big, name sponsor or, throwing a huge blowout closing night party or whatever. Can we do a little pre-event for a group of 20 people that are going to allow us to get much closer with those 20 people and do a much more curated experience? And how might we want to budget for next year for these types of things? So it's been a really fun, thing to think about. And it's definitely forefront because as we talk to all of our partners and our booths and stuff, everyone's talking, what are you going to do next year?
Yeah.
What are you investing in? Do you want to partner on something? I've had so many conversations this week with hotel brands that are saying, hey, I want to do an event in the Northeast. Do you want to partner? Hey, I'm going to do this. Do you think that that's something that CSI would align with? So that's kind of fun too. And
it's those strategic partnership conversations I think that develop when you're meeting with clients, hoteliers, other vendor partners that you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's a real opportunity here and we can really capitalize on that. So,
and that's another value of being in those destination booths, right? We're getting that FaceTime with our partners in our booths. And, I had a full book of appointments the last couple of days.
Yeah, you were busy.
Let's just take a deep breath. It was a lot of few days. But you know what I thought was interesting because like I said, I've been doing this show for many years is I felt that this year my appointments were so much stronger than in years past. Not that I haven't had good years, but I very often will get walk-in appointments or planned appointments of people that are like, just tell me about what you do. And you're like, oh, this is going to be a fun 30 minutes, right? And that's okay. I'm happy to do it. Of course, that's part of IMEX. And I just sort of assume that that's going to be how some things go. I've had one of those in the last 2 days.
That's amazing.
Most of my appointments have been, I've got this opportunity. We've worked together before, but it's been a while. Hey, we've never met in person, but we've talked about things. Like they've been real, dynamic. Hey, I have programs I want to talk to you about, and I came prepared to do so. And we joke that like gone are the days of trade shows where somebody walks in with an RFP and hands it to you. But I really felt like people were walking in with RFPs in their heads and on their phones, right? They were pulling up things like, oh, these are the dates again, or this is what we did last year. And they were at the end of the day, everyone's phone is their computer, everyone's phone is their RFP, and they were coming into these appointments and saying, okay, these are the dates, these are the needs. I've vetted you already and I want to get a proposal.
Yeah. And you were getting leads, I feel like opportunities for 26, but 27, 28, 29. I feel like the many years that people are looking forward. And I think that's also exciting when we're talking about how we're planning ahead is people are looking a little bit further out to start the conversations.
Yeah, it was an interesting mix. I think we've all been in that stress land of 3 to 6 month out lead times. And I don't think that's going away. I still had some of those pop in. Don't you worry. We were talking about holiday party for this year.
I just got excited when you told me that, so I had to mention it.
We were talking about a holiday party for this year with a client. So it's not over the short lead times. But the year I got the most opportunities for was 2026. So really that 18-month out planning window is back.
Sweet spot.
For some of those bigger, better programs, candidly, because we have the planning time to make them better programs, in all honesty. But yeah, you're right. I was out to 2029 with some of my conversations as well. And excitingly so, the 2029 program was, okay, we've already planned 2025 together. We planned 26 together, 27 together. Let's talk about what 28 and 29 are going to be.
What's next for us,
because your group is growing and availability is a hot topic at, the hotels. So we have to start thinking about 28 and 29. If you want to be where you want to be and get your top choice destination.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think it's incredible. And I think it makes us all kind of have a little bit of a sigh of relief that we are getting that little bit of a longer lead time and it doesn't feel so, last minute. So I think that's really awesome. I kind of want to ask you, because you have been so busy over in the Meet Boston booth, what else have you guys been up to over there? Because I feel like,
Boston's buzzing, huh?
I saw some lobster rolls
Okay.
being passed out. You guys are having a great time all week. I'd just love to get your recap on kind of all the activities.
I would love to share
there.
it because I'm pretty proud to be in the Meet Boston booth. And again, I've been in that booth for a long time. I've watched it evolve. It wasn't always as exciting as it's been this last couple of years. But no, it's been fun to watch it evolve because Meet Boston is investing in meetings. They want the meeting planners to come to Boston and to do business with us. So they've taken a really aggressive approach to IMEX this year and last year too, but this year especially. They've hosted the Hosted Buyer Lounge. We partnered with Legal Seafood to do clam chowder and lobster rolls, and not just like, nothing against Vegas clam chowder, but it's Legal Seafood's clam chowder. So we can actually say, this is a New England flavor you're going to get today. And then we also had actually CSI hired a impersonator, a little Bostonian character, I should say. If anyone's seen the Dunkin' Donuts commercials, and Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Tom Brady, those guys are hanging out in their Dunk Kings costumes. We had a Dunk Kings bro walking around.
Hey.
He was handing out scratch off tickets that were oyster themed, and if you didn't win, it said "aw shucks," right? How cute! If you did win, you won either $100 Legal Seafoods gift card. You could win $25 Dunkin' Donuts gift cards. We had like fanny packs with lobsters on them, all kinds of silly things as well.
And sourced from our Las Vegas team, which is even the more hilarious thing. Like, never would have thought that our Las Vegas team could find a Boston impersonator, but they pulled it out.
I mean, we tried to get Tom Brady. He wasn't available. Then we tried Ben Affleck. Unfortunately,
it was tough, right?
It was a tough ask. But no, it worked out really well. And then the idea was that they come collect their reward if they won during our happy hour, where we served espresso martinis, which is, a very trendy drink in general. But we have a whole neighborhood in Boston that just like literally pumps out espresso martinis. People rave about them. So that was kind of a fun happy hour. And then we also were serving breakfast, and we are also doing group appointments. And, the way the Boston booth is set up, I think is working really well for us because we don't have set chairs for each partner. We have a very sort of come and go mentality where we're all one shared group on this booth. And so we don't have one seat that we sit in the whole day. We get up, we move around, we engage with each other, we support each other in our appointments. I've had many people bring us into appointments that maybe weren't on our schedule, but made sense for us. And, when I walk around to some of the other booths and some of my colleagues and they're sitting in their one spot for the whole time, I think about some of the moments of networking that they might miss that we got to be a part of because of that sort of, the energy of standing a lot of the day. That happens when you don't have an assigned seat. And also our booth was just very open. Like there wasn't like an entry point. You could come in and go from any part on the show floor. So kudos to Boston. I'm a little biased, of course.
Well,
but I thought they did a great job.
Had to ask because I knew
you were opening that door.
I knew you would tell me all about it. I think that's interesting, though. I feel like everyone has a different approach to how they set up their booth, what it looks like. Having those kind of formal seats that you sit in, almost with like a partition.
A lot of them do.
That's kind of been the trend previously, and we're seeing a move, I think, more towards these kind of open concept, living room inviting kind of spaces. And I'm excited to see that because I feel like it does provide that opportunity to be collaborative. It provides the opportunity for people to feel welcome to pop in.
Totally.
That are walking around and just want to, connect with someone, pop in and say a hello. It can feel a little bit more approachable.
Yeah. And I got some really interesting pop-ins. The fun thing about the show is it is like a family reunion, right? And you never know who you're going to see, and maybe people you totally forgot about, or maybe people you just didn't expect to have be here. And I was, towards the end of the day yesterday, I was, writing down some notes from a previous appointment. I popped my head up and I saw somebody I hadn't seen in probably, I think she was the last person I met with before the world shut down. And I say that lightly. But she's based in Orlando. I was in Florida at the time doing some meetings in our Orlando office a couple days before, the travel bans all hit. And we had lunch, and I really hadn't seen her since. And what I was reminded of was an event planner confession moment. And it was her program that we had done the year before, or a couple years before. And this was back when the DMC I was representing had our own decor division, but we still partnered with other decor companies as well to support what we didn't have. And we were doing a very unique event where it was a very large group for an insurance company for an incentive. And they were so large that they took over 3 hotels in Boston, but wanted to have everyone have the same experience in all 3 hotels, right? So we created 3 Welcome to Boston events on the same night. Again, this is why we had to partner with another decor company, because the inventory to do 3 of the exact same event for, each one was tough. 500 to 1,000 people. And they were all sort of, up the street from each other, but, each other own loading docks and each other own moment, right? And so we worked with another vendor because we were doing our own builds. We didn't work with a lot of other decor companies in this facet very often because we usually kind of did it all ourselves. But in this scenario, we had to really lean on someone else. And we were working with a vendor that was fairly new. I shouldn't say new. Well, yeah, they were newer to the scene. And we'd had a couple of great events with them. But this was, again, many years ago, and we hadn't really vetted our vendors the way we do now. It was a lesson opportunity. And a couple of really wild things happened that night. First one being, we found out that they were building some of these pieces for us. So we had a lot of farm tables and a lot of, bar stools and things. And they were literally spray painting the bar stools a certain color that they didn't have previously. And they literally didn't even let the paint set before they delivered them to our event.
Oh, no.
So you can imagine how many dry cleaning bills I had to pay for guests that had stains on their clothes. So that was learning lesson 1, which I thought was going to be the worst of my night. I really, truly believed that at the time. Now, fast forward to event goes well. Other than that, it was only 2 people that had the dry cleaning issue. It was 1 chair, whatever. Not ideal, but we moved past it.
It wasn't every single person.
It wasn't all 2,000 people attending this event. But it was enough to be like, oh my gosh, what are we doing with this vendor? Now it's about midnight. We're loading out our event. We have our decor trucks loading out all of our items. So, we kind of took the loading dock first. We were loading things up. We're like, where is the other vendor? Where are their trucks? We're calling and we're calling again. And we call the drivers. We call the whatever. I had the owner of the company's cell phone number. I'm calling her pretty actively on repeat. And I'd heard some rumblings about some personal issues she was having, on her own time. And, in fact, somebody had said, are you sure you're going to work with her? She's a little cuckoo bird situation happening right now. And I said, you know what? We've done these other events. We really need this, these items.
Yeah,
and
we got to source it.
And the product was good, right?
Yeah.
Like the items they were bringing to the table were great. They never showed up to pick up their items. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of chairs, hundreds and hundreds of people's worth of tables and decor, like physical props that are 12 feet tall and all kinds of things to make up neighborhoods of Boston, the Seaport District, the, Chinatown, the Faneuil Hall area, Cheers bars,
so an entire
Fenway Park
an
walls,
entire city of Boston
in 3 ballrooms at the same night. And there was no decor vendor to pick up the items. None to be found. So now it's like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, and we end up actually taking our trucks, bringing them back to our warehouse, unloading them, having the guys come back, load up their stuff into our trucks because, mind you, breakfast was being served in these ballrooms in the morning.
So you had to get it out.
There was no we'll deal with this tomorrow.
No.
This was like an all hands, all night kind of moment. We worked all night. We had one, maybe 800 square foot meeting space that we could use in one of the hotels that we just stacked every chair we could in. So we did what we could there. But I'm telling you, everything else ended up in our warehouse. And by the end of it was like 4:35 in the morning. I remember sitting in the front of the valet waiting for my car. Like, I don't even know what just happened to me. Like, do we now own all this inventory?
Decor.
This is the craziest thing ever. And an email pops up in my inbox that was blasted out to all of the people in the database from this vendor partner saying, very sorry to inform you, but our doors have shut. We are no longer in business. There's a padlock on the front door and we are no longer. So I'm telling you, in the middle of my event, we actually literally, the decor vendor closed their doors.
Oh my gosh.
So
those dry cleaning bills don't seem
the dry cleaning was nothing at the end of the day. That was just silliness. The whole ordeal really did teach me a lot about vetting vendors. What I laughed about when I saw this planner yesterday, though, was that she had no idea that any of this happened. And every time I see her, all I do is think about this like PTSD moment I have about her events. And she's always like, why don't we work together again? I can't wait, blah, blah, blah. And all I think about is how one of the longest nights of my life from an event standpoint, how that all kind of unraveled for me, and she had no idea. And I think that's one of those fun moments where, she may listen to this podcast and say, was that me? Did that happen? And we get to really talk about it, 8-9 years later or whatever. But again, back to the show, that's those fun long-time relationships. You run into people, you have these memories, and some of them they know about, and some of them they don't, but they're all around their programs at the end of the day.
If you swing by her again, tell her to come by the booth, and she can give her own version of the event planner confessionals that she might have. Hopefully it's not the same story.
I think her whole thing is going to be the dry cleaning bill, because she thought that was the biggest thing that happened that night. In full but it was wild. And, it was a moment where we really bonded with our hotel partners that night.
Yeah,
and,
builds relationships.
I learned how to use a drill really well, because I was taking apart farm tables, and it was just a wild time.
Just diversifying your skill set, really.
Exactly. So
I'm excited for the rest of the day today. I think it's going to be incredible. And this is, like I said, the day that it's like the fun where you can just kind of take a little bit of a sigh of relief. You're getting towards the end. Take it all in one last time. So I'm so excited to kind of get over there and yeah, we're going to be handing out some event planner confessional subscribe note cards all over the trade show floor. We've already hit that up. So we're excited to get people excited to listen. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we took a minute to sort of take a minute during this long couple of days to chit chat about it all. If you've never been to an IMEX, I do think it is a really impactful show to go to. And if you didn't get to go this year, but want to hear more about, some of the different things that happen on the show floor, please reach out. We have a ton of folks that were there that are all happy to share their stories and their takeaways from the show as well.
Yeah, and their confessions.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, let's get back to the show.
Thanks.
All right.